Good morning. Welcome to Wright Family Homestead. I'm Mama.
And I'm just Bo.
And today we're going to talk to you about egg incubators. We've got a new one over the weekend, and we're going to compare it with the older one that I have had for 10 years. I've got 10 years of experience hatching eggs, primarily chicken eggs, but I've also hatched out turkeys, guineas, and ducks. It's not a very difficult process. It is a somewhat precise process, and it takes time. For the last 10 years, I have manually turned my eggs, put the water in a little cup in the old incubator. All I've got is a little knob. I'll even do a little video to show you at the end to show you exactly how this old one is because it's kind of far for you to see. So we got this one over the weekend because my hatch rate last year was not very good. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was hatching eggs for friends and family with everything that was going on. A lot more people became interested in tending and keeping chickens for meat and for eggs, right? How many eggs did we hatch last year? Do you remember?
2.
More than 2. Many times that.
5.
More than 5. A lot. Lots
15.
of eggs. Okay. Plenty. Plenty of chicks for people to help them out last year. At any rate, the hatch rate was way lower than I'm normally used to. I normally have a good 95% hatch rate. Over time and working with it, I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I've got it elevated on a cooling rack, like a baker's rack right now. And I checked the thermometer. I adjusted the little knob on top, and the thermometer was off. It wasn't working. The old thermometer, which I actually have right here, that came with the incubator all these years ago. It's done. So it could be a combination of things. It could have been just this thermometer, but at this rate, I swiped husband's meat thermometer, and I have it in the old incubator, and it was reading at 100 degrees. So that's good. Okay. This is the Farm Innovators Pro Series Digital Incubator. It is air circulated. It has 3 simple buttons that you can use. It keeps track of the days for you. It starts at day 21 for chickens, but you can adjust it for any egg. It keeps track of the humidity, and it also monitors the temperature. If the temperature drops below 99.5 degrees, it will start to flash, and of course it will kick on to bring the temperature back up. Before I put my eggs inside of here, it was at a perfect 100 degrees. It's already set at 21 days, and the humidity was about 56%, and you want it between 50 and 60%. The new incubator has an egg turner, an automatic egg turner, so it'll make my life a little bit easier for that one. I only have one concern, and that is, in nature, Mama hen will get off the nest a couple times a day to go eat or drink, for the most part. Some stay put a little bit longer, and that automatically drops the temperature of the eggs down a little bit, gives them a chance to cool off, and then when she gets back on it, she brings it back up. Whenever I open the lid to the old one and I automatically hand turn the eggs by myself, it kind of mimics that. Whereas if I close this and I don't open it for 21 days and it's at a constant temperature, it's not the same. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work for me. I'm sure other people have been very successful. I'm just working on my personal experience to see how this egg turner works in the new one, right? Anyway, this one's fully loaded. It has 41 eggs. I believe that one, this older one over here, has about 2.5 to 3 dozen. I actually forgot to count. This one is foam, but it's covered in plastic, whereas you could tell from the older one, it's totally foam, and so it dents easily. It's got lots of marks on it. It's a little rougher looking, but I have been using it for a decade. So, I mean, considering I've gotten a decade's worth of use out of it, I think that's great. The older one is a little bit prone for the eggs to move around. If you've got children that like to run back and forth through the house, or a larger person stomping through the house, or anything, they can move a little bit easier, and that might be problematic. It just depends. I've never had a problem with it. There's an old wives' tale that says that if it thunders while you're incubating eggs, your chicks won't hatch. That's not true. It's an old wives' tale. But I remember being really worried about that when I first started and it thundered. I'm like, oh no, the eggs aren't going to make it. They did fine. I actually even had a power outage once for several hours overnight, and I just threw a blanket over it. And next day the power came on early in the morning, and I went through the process and still had a great hatch. So as long as they're mostly maintained, you know, make sure that you turn them. If you don't have an automatic egg turner, turn them once or twice a day. I normally did twice a day, but there was times that I did forget, and they might have only gotten turned once. They still did fine. Whenever you hit day number 18, you no longer open the lid. You no longer turn the eggs, obviously, because you no longer open the lid. And it's what basically called lockdown. We're locking them down because a lot of times, in my personal experience, especially with chickens, they will hatch a day or so early. Give them plenty of time, let them ride. Sometimes they won't hatch that day. You can wait up to day 25 for chickens, and you can get some late bloomers before you throw them away. Have I covered everything? You got any questions? No questions. I'm going to give you guys a really good look at how this is. Oh, I also did want to mention for the new one, for the Farm Innovator, it had some good instructions. I liked how short and to the point it was. I didn't have to go through a book. And then it also comes with a paper of frequently asked questions. This paper covers everything from where do I get eggs from to incubate. Obviously, if you have chickens, you get them right from your backyard. If you don't have chickens and you want to start chickens and you don't want to pay $7, $8 a chick at the farm store, sometimes you get them a good deal and you might get them for $2 or $3. But most of the time, the last couple of times that we've went to a local farm store, they've been $6.99 and $7.99 per chick. Find a friend that's got eggs. Ask them not to put those eggs in the refrigerator. Buy them from them. Get you a couple dozen. There you go. They're going to be what we call a backyard or a farmyard cross. They're not going to be a pure one if it's just a backyard chicken keeper. But your mixed breed chickens are perfectly fine. They're usually hardier and they lay great eggs. There's no reason not to do that. This one here, I mean, it tells you the temperature, tells you how to set the eggs, it tells you all kinds of different stuff. It even tells you what the parts are in the incubator. So if you've never done this before and you're considering it, I really think the instructions that came with this are excellent and to the point and great for a beginner. Now, on this one, it says it's not necessary to mark your eggs. I did go ahead and mark one side of each egg with an X, and I used a pencil, not a marker, because if for some reason I feel like I just don't trust that egg turner and I need to pull them out, that X helps me to see which side's up. On this one, I'll go ahead and take a little egg out of the incubator here and show you. Since I hand turn them, and I need to keep track of them, especially if they turn or roll or anything, I'll put an X on one side, and I'll put an O on the other side. And I would also write on the side, on one end or the other, the date that they're due. But I didn't do that this time. This is going to keep track of the days for me. I have a calendar and 21 days, you know. But if I was doing multiple eggs, and I have done that, I've hatched guineas and chickens out in the same incubator at the same time. Guineas take a little longer, turkeys take longer. So then I would write the date, that way I wouldn't get confused or forget exactly when these are due to hatch. But since these are all chicken eggs, we saved our eggs for several days. And my flock's getting older, so we need to bring in some new babies. We're gonna keep this going. I think I've covered everything, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask below. I'm happy to answer them. If I know the answer, if I don't, we'll find out the answer together. And in 10 days, we're gonna candle these to see how well they're developing and take account on whether the newer one or the older one. I mean, this one has more eggs, but we'll look at percentage to see how the development's going. And then we'll do a follow-up video on hatching day, see how everything turns out. I'm really excited about it. Most of these chickens are going to be for us, but we will, I'm sure, hatch some for friends and family as well. So have a great day. Take care of each other. Do what you can right where you are. And Psalms 34 verse 8 is,
"Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him."
Goodbye. He's so happy. Okay. I did forget to mention that I do my best not to wash my eggs to preserve the bloom. However, several of these eggs, it's already approaching 100. Several of these eggs were really dirty, and so I didn't get too crazy with it, but I washed them off the best that I could. As you can see in here, there's a little bit of mess on some of them. That's not too bad. I don't think it'll affect anything. And then the cleaner ones we just left alone. You don't necessarily want to wash your eggs. You want to preserve that bloom to keep the bacteria out. But in this instance, especially in the old incubator, I had to wash several of them. So that may be a factor in the hatch rate. I'm not sure, but we're going to try it anyway. Okay, but this is it. This is the old girl. My 10-year-old incubator. As you can see, she is well used. And then this is the new one. It even comes with instructions on the side, and we did run it for 8 hours. We actually ran it overnight. This is the hole for putting in water. It doesn't have a little cup or anything like the old one does. There's also a hole on the back to increase your humidity in the last 3 days. And right now it is 99.5 degrees, 45% humidity. It should continue to climb back up to 55%. That's where I had it before. And here is a little glimpse of your instruction manual. It even comes with the incubation days and which type of bird, which I thought was really cool for those that may not know. It has your parts. It tells you what the chambers are for. I think it turned out great. Very helpful. All right, we will see you soon and give you an update on how they produce. Here we go. Just look for you so you see. Primitive, right? Compared to the new one.